So where are you from?
I'm from Seoul, Korea, South Korea.
So do you feel like you have a moment where you have to represent your country, like in a certain situation since you came here?
Yeah, actually there were a couple of times, but especially when I was in high school, I was the only Asian kid who actually was from Korea. So many friends asked me about Korean and Asian culture in general. So I actually had to study for myself to make sure that I do not misrepresent Korea, my country. And also I was aware that my friends will build their impressions on Korea based on my stories and what I show in my words and actions.
So has your experience here ever since you came helped you gain like ability to be able to communicate with different cultural groups?
Yeah, absolutely, especially with diverse groups, because in my sophomore year, I lived with a Chinese roommate and a Turkey roommate, so neither of them were Americans nor Koreans, so it was a new culture for me to adjust. As I learned how to interact with different culture when I first came to the States, I was able to stretch that ability and interact with diverse cultures that are not from America. So I've learned how to communicate with different cultures, not necessarily only with you.
So where are you from again?
I'm from Malaysia.
How long have you been here?
About 1.5 years.
So you just recently came to America?
I wouldn't say recently, but yeah, I'm kind of new.
So were there any big challenges that you faced when you first came here, since the culture is different than from Malaysia?
I would say the first thing is opening up to other people here. I would say majority Americans, because I have this fear that I'll get judged on my opinions, and sometimes diversity make you a deviant, and yeah, that's like one of my biggest fear when I first came here. It kept me quiet, but it got better. I would say diversity play a big role in giving value to other opinions we got in classes. Like for example, we're doing a group project and ideas come from perspective from on different levels, considering people coming from overseas, and it allows the world look at itself from all directions or different perspective. So we are power diversity gives flight to a lot of ideas and opinions.
What's your profession?
Okay, my name is Chris Bragg and I'm an International Student Advisor.
Alright, so we are in the International Student and Scholar Service Office.
Correct.
So what is the purpose of this office?
Of the office, there's sort of many different facets to it. Primarily, we are assisting international students, so F1 students, like a couple of your team members, in helping them maintain their status while they're here in the U.S. And there's much more behind that, but that's the general idea. We also help the university maintain compliance with federal regulations.
So it's like kind of like an immigration office.
Yeah, so we assist with international students who are trying to secure work authorization off campus, if they want to drop below 12 credits, because visas have certain requirements. So as an F1 visa holder, you have to maintain a certain number of credits per term. If students fall below that, we assist them in securing authorization, for example, so they can take less than 12. If they want to work off campus, we assist them with that. If there are major changes, then we have to provide them with new documents that reflect that new major. So those are just three very simple examples. If they want to change their status, we assist them with that process.
Can you give like an example of a program that you're involved in, or a program that you created, or if you created any?
Yeah, actually the Bridges program, so in addition to all the immigration practices that the office is involved with, I'm also involved with programming that is designed to integrate international and domestic students. And we know that happens. We know that happens in the dorm rooms, going to a football game, on the soccer field, going to a movie in the student union. We know that happens. But we're also trying to develop programs that are perhaps more intentional in bringing students from different backgrounds together. So one example is the Bridges program, which we piloted the program last spring of 2014, And I took, in the end, we had about 32 students, half international and half domestic, U.S. citizens. And there were a series of 5 programs throughout the spring term that cohort of 31 students went through. So we did a welcome dinner with a cross-cultural activity. It was a simulation activity. We then went to an indoor rock climbing gym in Rochester, and we did a high ropes course. We watched a foreign film together. We did some community service, and then we had a final wrap-up dinner and activity as well. So the idea is, it wasn't just one standalone program where students would go somewhere, interact with their peers, and then leave. That compared to taking a group of students, a small group, but a group of students, and putting them through a series of programs over the course of the semester. The idea being that over the course of time, they would develop stronger relationships and understand one another and ultimately become friends. We try. It's a challenge. It's a university of 29,000 students, right? And we have lots of immigration tasks that are really they're our number one priority. Helping students maintain their lawful status in the U.S. and helping the university remain compliant. Then a step down from those goals is assisting students with adjusting to life in the U.S. If they have landlord issues, if they have academic problems, if they want information on how to get a New York State driver's license. There are all those non-immigration life issues that we all deal with, that we assist with. The difference is, if you're a U.S. student, you know about the DMV. You generally know what the process is to get a license. For international students, they don't know. It might be a very different system back in their home country. So we assist with that. We don't. If they have problems with their class, we're not their academic advisor, but we can point them in the right direction with a lot of other matters. So we try and provide tips, advice, and also workshops that help them become better acclimated to life here at UB and in the U.S. We do a winter driving course, for example, because a lot of our students are from climates where they haven't had snow. So we invite someone from AAA, American Automobile Association, to come and talk about how to drive in the winter. So very practical skills. So we try and we do what we can to make them feel welcome. We go to walking tours of downtown Buffalo. Jessica, right next door, does a program called the International Student Mentoring Program, where she pairs up international students with American students and staff members, and they form this bond, this team, throughout the course of a semester, and just go out to movies, go to ball games, have dinner together, just a way to make a connection with another American. And then I do my programs. Bridges, for example, we brought students to a soccer game. The men's soccer team had their home opener, and we had a contest during halftime. So I do a number of activities also that are geared towards helping international students feel welcome, get adjusted, and make connections with other American students.